To be clear, this isn't about discouraging anyone from taking the leap into self employment or entrepreneurship. It's about making informed moves and understanding how to play career offense instead of job defense. Because if your plan is just to quit and figure it out, listen, you're setting yourself up to struggle. But if you learn how to build with strategy, you can create a career that gives you the freedom, impact, and the income you truly want. So that's what. Hey now. Today, we're diving into something that might challenge the way you think about self employment, entrepreneurship, and traditional 9 to 5 work. It might ruffle a few feathers, but this is career in coffee. But we're talking about something that I think you'll find value in because it's very common to hear people use self employment and entrepreneurship interchangeably. But here's the truth, they are not the same. And not understanding the difference is exactly why so many people find themselves stuck in a cycle of frustration, burnout, or back in a job they swore they'll never return to. We hear it all the time. People leave their 9 to 5s, they're searching for freedom, chasing the dream of entrepreneurship. Then reality sets in, the inconsistent income, the never ending hustle, the lack of structure. And before you know it, they're right back in the traditional job roles. The real question is why? And more importantly, how do you make sure that doesn't happen to you? So, to be clear, this isn't about discouraging anyone from taking the leap into self employment or entrepreneurship. It's about making informed moves and understanding how to play career offense instead of job defense. Because if your plan is just to quit and figure it out, listen, you're setting yourself up to struggle. If you learn how to build with strategy, you can create a career that gives you the freedom, impact, and the income you truly want. So that's what we're getting into today, why people leave self employment and the key differences between working for yourself versus building something sustainable, how to move with strategy and not survival mode. So we're going to get into it. Let's get into it. So self-employment again and entrepreneurship are not the same. So you got to know the difference because that's going to determine success or frustration. So here's why many find themselves back in a 9 to 5 after pursuing self-employment. The constant hustle, it just leads to burnout when every dollar depends on your effort, your energy. They also don't have scalable systems, which means they're stuck trading time for money with no real growth strategy. And I think the biggest thing is the unpredictable income. It makes financial security feel untouchable, feel out of reach. And it makes the steady paycheck seem tempting again. And finally, how people find themselves going back to a job they said they weren't going to do is the lack of structure, the lack of benefits, the lack of team support that once made corporate life manageable. That suddenly feels like a big missing piece, but it does not have to be this way. We're getting ready to break this down and ask the real question. Are you leaving because self-employment didn't work or because you didn't build it with longevity in mind? We got to be accountable here, people. Self-employment often means you are the business. You trade time for money with no systems in place to scale. Entrepreneurship, on the other hand, is about creating something sustainable, beyond your direct labor. Many professionals return to that 9 to 5 work not because they failed, but because they were operating as self employed rather than truly building a business. You got to understand this difference because this is crucial before making the leap or even before deciding to return. You got to give yourself grace. Learn to give yourself grace. That is a key success trait of an entrepreneur. Me, as a career strategist, when I'm guiding someone to their next and best professional and life enhancing move, I'm not talking resumes. I'm not suggesting networking events or LinkedIn profile optimization they are locked in, until they are locked in on their why. So we breaking this down. A lot of professionals, they make the leap from the 9 to 5 into self-employment, thinking they've escaped the grind. And at first it feels very liberating, but emotions are fleeting. So at first you're excited, you set your own hours, you call the shots, and you finally get to work on your terms. And those are all great aspirations. Here's where reality sets in. Many realize that instead of escaping a 9 to 5, they built a 24/7 job for themselves. Real talk. The income is unpredictable, the pressure is constant, and because they're wearing every single hat, there's no real separation between work and life. And after months and sometimes years of running on fumes, they start looking back at their old paycheck with fresh eyes. They crave stability, the benefits, the desire comes back, and a system that doesn't really rely on them doing everything. That's what the run back involves. Here's the thing. Self-employment isn't the end game. It's just a stepping stone. The key to long-term success is understanding the difference between self-employment and true entrepreneurship. Because professionals who thrive and not survive are the ones who shift from just selling their time to building something bigger than themselves. And yes, I believe in humble beginnings and bootstrap. I get it. I get it. Let me know if this resonates with you all. Have you ever felt like you left one exhausting cycle just to end up in another? Let me know if this is hitting home, right? Now let's talk about how to make that shift. How do you take what you've built as a self-employed professional and start to turn it into something scalable, sustainable, and freeing? Let's get into it. First, it's just understanding that self-employment is a step, but it's not the destinations. And the real entrepreneurship builds beyond your personal labor. What does that actually look like? And if you're catching a replay, this is a good time to grab a pen. So, what does that look like going into real entrepreneurship from self employment? Well, one, building systems versus a solo hustle. Instead of doing everything yourself, you create processes that allow your business to run smoothly without you being in the weeds every day. Number two, generating revenue beyond your direct labor. True entrepreneurship isn't just about working harder, it's about leveraging multiple income streams that don't just rely solely on your time. For example, if you want a deeper strategy on how to pivot from corporate to entrepreneurship, is the framework is within my book, Choice Destinations. I don't have to be there with you to walk you through and talk you through the processes that led me to success in not only being a corporate professional, but my transition to entrepreneurship. So that's an example on that. Number three, delegating, automation, and scaling. Success is not doing it all. It's about building a team and using technology. We are in an AI technology driven era. It is easier than it has ever been to automate processes within business, even as a solopreneur. And that's how you structure your business for growth: delegation, automation, and scaling. Because we want sustainability over survival. The goal isn't to replace your 9 to 5 with another demanding job you created for yourself. The goal is to design something that provides long-term stability and freedom. That's the shift from self-employed to entrepreneurship, and it's a game changer. I had to learn this firsthand. After years in corporate, I knew I had the skills, the experience, and I had the leadership ability to step out on my own. But what I realized is that simply working for myself isn't the same as building something that works for me. So when I first started, I was still operating like an employee, just one without a paycheck, without the paycheck guarantee. I was trading my time for money, constantly in a cycle of what's next, next client, next invoice, next project. It was a hustle. It was a hustle mindset. It was not a strategy. And I had to ask myself, did I really leave corporate just to work harder for myself? That's when everything shifted, ladies and gentlemen. I have the freedom now to explore opportunities that wouldn't have been available to me if I had stayed in the mindset of trading time for money. The work I've done in corporate and as an entrepreneur has shaped a reality where I can choose where I invest my time rather than being at the mercy of it. That's the difference between self-employment and true entrepreneurship. Self-employment is working for yourself. Entrepreneurship is creating something bigger than you. So if you're feeling stuck in the cycle of hustle and grind, ask yourself, am I building a business or just giving myself a job? Because the real success is not about working hard. It's about working smarter and positioning yourself to thrive beyond just today. So let's talk about how to make that shift the right way so you're not just chasing opportunities, but you're creating them for yourself and your family. That brings me to a bigger conversation, one that separates those who feel stuck in cycles of survival mode from those who move with intention. You can't just react to career shifts. You have to position yourself ahead of them. We're talking career offense versus job defense. The mistakes so many professionals make, especially those transitioning from self-employment or corporate roles, is that they wait until they have to make a move. They wait until a layoff happens. We're seeing it in the headlines right now with the sweeping layoffs across the country. They're waiting until the industry shifts, until they feel completely burned out. That's playing defense. That's survival mode. And when you're in survival mode, you're accepting roles out of fear, not strategy. You're waiting for the right time instead of creating the right time. On the contrary, the professionals who thrive, they play an offense. They see what's coming before before it happens, and they position themselves to be the obvious choice before opportunities even open up. They're building relationships before they need them. That's when your name gets in a room before you walk in it. They're cultivating authority in their space and creating career mobility instead of waiting for an offer. And this is why all next month, I'll be walking you through how to increase visibility, credibility, and career opportunities. Let me tell you, if people don't know what you do, if people don't know what you bring to the table and the value you create, you are missing opportunities before they even reach you. I'm going to break all of this down in my LinkedIn optimization series where I'll teach you how to magnetize the right opportunities, Position yourself strategically and leverage your network so you don't have to chase. Because the right opportunities will come to you. The key here, stop playing career defense. We are moving and playing career offense. We're being proactive, not reactive. Your next move should be intentional. We're not scrambling. And trust me, when you operate with that level of clarity, that level of authority and confidence, your career trajectory shifts in a way that puts you in control. Let's talk about positioning, because positioning and what that looks like, that is where the real power is. So I'll be all next month, I'm going deep into that. All right. So thank you all for tapping in. I do want to send out a final reminder as we close the month. The Choice Destinations audiobook is almost here. And if you grab the Choice Destinations ebook today, you'll get the audiobook for free on launch day, March 1st. So I'll drop the link in the comments. And before we close out, I want to hear from you. Are you playing career offense or defense right now? Just take a moment and think about it. Drop it in the comments. Let's talk about it. If you're serious about positioning yourself for your next big move, it starts with visibility. I'm going to show you how to magnetize opportunities and build a career that works for you. So stay tuned for that LinkedIn optimization series coming up in the next few weeks. That's one you don't want to miss. Remember, your next move isn't about luck. It's about career. It's about strategy.